Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting episode of
Staying Up with Pat and Jodi. And I am Jodi.
And I'm Pat. I think I am.
And we're dressed alike. What the hell?
This was not planned.
This was like, what? This is like, what the fuck?
If you're listening on SoundCloud, you're going, I have no idea how you're dressed. I can't see you on SoundCloud. But if that's what you have to watch on YouTube.
I thought before you said that you were wearing the shirts to be on the show and look alike.
Yeah, no,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
And that, my friends, is not Bruce.
That's not Bruce. Bruce was last week.
Bruce was last week. This week, we have our good friend Leo visiting us from New York, all the way from, you live in Brooklyn, right?
Brooklyn, yeah, that's
Brooklyn.
correct.
Wow.
That's very New York.
Yeah, I'm born and raised there.
Awesome.
So you've never lived anywhere else?
No.
Wow.
That's right.
All the whole life in one place.
My whole life living in Brooklyn.
Wow.
But there's a lot of people. That's one thing about New York. You get a lot of people that will live there their entire lives and just, that they're just like, born here, I'm not going anywhere. Until they can't afford it, then they have to leave. Because there's some areas now.
I mean, it's true. But for the most part, they have like this theory that like once you come from Brooklyn, you can really go anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you could just handle anything because it's just the way that...
It's sort of like... you're getting trained for the worst in a sense, and I don't want to say that in a bad way. It's just that it's very intense. New York and Brooklyn is very intense. You have to be on your guard. So when you go everywhere else, it's like easy for the most part. Now you can get a little bit of culture shock though. If you spent any time in like San Francisco or certain areas like that, or Colorado or something, you'd be like, where did these people come from? What planet is this?
It's definitely the truth, but for the most part, it's kind of like when you're from Brooklyn, everything is rough around the edges, like they don't hold back.
Yeah.
It's like, your parents or your brothers and sisters or your family members, if you come out looking like a schmuck, they're going to say, hey, you look like a schmuck. You know,
Yeah, they're very honest.
Yes. Yes.
I think that's the biggest challenge with most people from New York and in that area is when you go to other areas that people are, what's the term? Full of shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just don't say what they mean. They're just going to lie to you and say, oh, it's so great. I love that son of a bitch. It's like
right.
Brooklyn, they'll tell you.
It's the truth. It really is.
They tell you. So I used to date a guy who lived in Bay Ridge. Are you close to Bay Ridge?
I'm in Bensonhurst, and Bay Ridge is like the next neighborhood past me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I loved it. I had a good time. We used to go to Coney Island for hot dogs. The best hot dogs are at Nathan's.
Nathan's?
But you got to go to Nathan's Coney Island. Like the Nathan's here, like at the
Absolutely.
Palms Casino.
Actually, last week was 100 years that Nathan's was open.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
And they were selling hot dogs for 5 cents each.
Oh, I would have
Oh boy!
pigged
Can
out.
you
like-
imagine how many hot dogs they went through? If they're selling them 5 cents a piece.
Yeah, well, they put like some kind of restriction on it. Like
okay.
each person's only allowed to buy like 3 hot
Yeah,
dogs.
because-
or something.
Okay,
Yeah,
because
'cause-
otherwise they'd say, give me 482 hot dogs. That's what I got in my wallet, and I'm feeding the entire neighborhood.
How is
So-
Coney Island now, though? Is it cleaned up a little bit? Because back when I was like going out with the ex, it was kind of questionable.
For many years, it's always been a little, on the ghetto side, and they've had some crime issues, and they've built it up to be something that's more family oriented. There's a lot more businesses now that are coming in there that are more chain businesses that are starting to open up and trying to be more conscious on the crime and stuff like that. So crime is down, and pretty much there's a big police presence there during the height of the season, So for the most part, it's relatively, I would have to say the whole entire city, crime has been down, in the past 10 years.
You have seen a lot of areas like that have gone through a lot of urban revitalization. I mean, Long Beach started it back over a
California.
decade ago. Long Beach was a town, and I rember when I first started DJing.
But California, Pat,
in California,
'cause there's Long Beach in New York,
Yeah, that's right.
too,
There's a
right?
Long Beach. That's right.
What is he talking about, Long Beach?
I don't know how licensed Long Beach is where you are, but
It's 2 hours from Coney Island.
okay. So
That's where the dude from the Orange County Shoppers, wasn't he in Long
I
Beach?
think so, yeah.
and you know what's funny
What?
is that there's another famous motorcycle builder that had his shop in
Jesse
Long Beach,
James.
in California. See
Yeah.
that? So they were both in Long Beach, just
And a
on
lot
the
of your
opposite.
ghetto rap people were based out of Long Beach and Compton. Wasn't Snoop Dogg in
Snoop
Long
Dogg was
Beach?
from the LBC.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and the LBC was. I mean, we used to do parties on Ocean Boulevard, which is all the hotels are. And this is right on the water, and there's all the big office buildings and everything. And the loading docks were all on the backside of the building off the next street over, which I think was First Street.
Okay.
You took your life into your hands unloading your gear. It was like you could not turn your back to the street because there were some, let's just say, questionable looking characters that were just hanging out there watching you.
Was this back in the 80s?
This would be like 80s, mid-late 80s, early 90s, and it was just bad. I mean, if you got 2-3 blocks off of the hotel, we're talking about nice hotels, 3-4 star hotels, you were in the hood. It's like all the windows are bars, got bars on them. And, it's like anytime you go into a neighborhood where every single window and door has bars on it, you're like, okay, there may be an issue here. I could be wrong, but no. But they've done a lot. They were kind of one of the first in California, at least, to really try and turn around their downtown area. And now there's still some bad areas, but boy, it's so much nicer. Now you're seeing it in so many other cities and areas where they're like, yeah, I mean, this area has history. Why are we letting it fall apart just because there's a newer area down the street? Right. And that's the big thing is everybody's trying to preserve this history and bring more businesses in and make
Coney
the area safer.
It was always fun. I mean, it was a fun
Coney Island
area.
has a lot of history. I mean, Coney Island has, like you said, it's that was a place to take your family 100 years ago. Like we said with Nathan.
Well, if you really go back, like in the 50s, that was like the place to go for vacation. That the people in the whole entire Brooklyn, they took the train, and that was the last stop at Coney Island.
Yeah,
I've seen pictures of the beach at Coney Island where like you can't even see sand. That's how many people are standing there.
Wow.
And it's just tremendous of how many. And even my father says like from years ago that they used to take the train to Coney Island. They used to eat hot dogs and they used to go to the movies and watch a double feature.
Sure.
And it would still only cost them like 60 cents.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
Now they need to do that to Atlantic City. They need to figure out
Atlantic
something
City
to do.
really
Atlantic
needs-
City is so. I was there in September.
Well, they talk about why the hotels and casinos are having a hard time. But the big issue is that the neighboring areas are so bad. Who wants to go there? Who wants to vacation when you step a block outside of your hotel? You have to worry about being murdered.
I don't think that's only my personal opinion
No.
that's really the issue. I think the issue is that now you have probably about 10 to 12 other casinos in New York and Connecticut area that people are like, why do I got to drive 2 hours to Atlantic City to go gamble? And I think that pretty much Atlantic City should be more focused on the hotels and the food and restaurant business than the casino business, and rely on the casino business as an added thing.
Well, you're in a town now that learned their lesson in the sense that, it was back in, I think, 2007 that I believe it was Mandalay Bay for the first time ever made more money in their hotel as far as hotel rooms than they did in the casino.
Right? Yeah.
And now it's a trend that most hotels make more off the hotel, and the casino is where the casino was the primary and the hotels were secondary. That's kind of reversed, and they realize you have to have world-class dining. You have to have all of these great things,
Great
shows
entertainment,
and things
good
to do.
shows.
But I think also people need to feel safe when they're there, which is what, I mean, granted, I haven't been to Atlantic City in several years, but when I was there, and I'm not a little guy, and I'm looking around going, I don't feel safe here. You walk outside onto the street, and it's just like parts of Reno were. I mean, they're trying to improve Reno
was
too.
really
Reno was
bad,
really bad, and it was just like, and then there was nothing special about the hotel.
No, Reno, there's nothing.
And the same with Atlantic City. It's like we just they built it in the 70s, and they really didn't do anything else.
Well, Atlantic City, no. I mean, Atlantic City, if you're like, and Leo knows because you go to the Atlantic City DJ show, right? Usually?
Correct, yes.
Up by Bally's, it's not too bad. Like that Bally's area, Caesars area.
I would have to say from the Broadwalk to the First Avenue, you're pretty safe.
Right.
And then from there, it starts to get a little shady. But ever since they opened up the not the convention, they opened up a shopping area with like they're like stores.
Oh,
they're called,
like an outlet mall.
Outlet mall,
yeah, it's really
So they made like an outlet area,
They did.
and
They did,
It
Pat.
seemed to clean up, like I would say, maybe from the Broadwalk to 10 avenues.
Yes, he's
past
right.
it. That seemed to be much better than it was
Yeah.
years ago.
Because
And that makes a big difference, yeah.
Kevin and I walked there. That's where we were.
Yeah, and that was just
In
recently.
Yeah, it was
and
in
that's what you
September.
have to do. Like you said, people have to feel safe while they're there, and you have to diversify.
And it was
You can't
crowded.
just
Let me
be-
tell you, there were people at those outlet shops on the street and stuff. And this was September, right? Mid-September, I would probably say.
That's really the only reason why I go there now. I go there for like a Saturday or Sunday.
Sure.
And I stay overnight and I do some shopping for clothes for the summer or the winter.
Sure, yeah.
And I stay in a hotel, have nice dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever
That's
eat
it.
at the Guy Fieri's yet?
No.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah?
Oh, my God, you got to go there. cheap plug for Guy Fieri's restaurant.
Okay. Checks in the mail.
In Atlantic City. And Pat, we have a comp for the one here. We just got to call Michelle when we're ready to go.
We got to use it.
We got to use it.
Absolutely.
All right. So anyway. Thank you for filling us in. For those people, if you were homesick,
we got the East Coast report.
That's so Leo's going to be sitting in with us.
Our official East Coast reporter now.
Leo, jump in whenever you want. There's no rules here. We're like, it's fun.
But Leo, one of the things we're going to talk about right now, which this is something, Jodi likes trash TV. She really does.
I do.
The trashier, the better. I mean, she loves the Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Love the Housewives. Oh my God. Love it.
And she stumbled upon this show that has been on for a few seasons now.
2 seasons. It's going on season 3.
It's going on season 3. And they were doing a Memorial Weekend marathon. Okay. And the name of the show is Dating Naked. Okay.
Leo's like,
very interesting.
I got the same reaction too, and it's just.
Let me tell you, people.
Can I get on the show?
Yes,
Exactly.
I got the requirements right here. I got sucked into this, sucked in, no pun intended, sucked into this Dating Naked show because it was Saturday and we're like getting ready to do our events, and I'm chilling out at the house before I have to get ready.
Is it blurred out?
Yes, yeah.
Unfortunately,
it's on VH1.
But you're going to see the stuff that these people do on. Oh my! This show is crazy. And then on Sunday, season 2 was like a marathon. And just when I'm like, okay, I'm done with Dating Naked. I'm going to go shopping or do something. I'm like, I can't leave because some crazy bitch just got into the house and she's naked. I'm like, this is freaking great. So the premise of the show is this. So there's these 2 people. It starts off with 2 people. We'll say, I don't know, Andy and Helen.
well, let's do this because we have some of their videos of some of the.
But we got to explain what the premise of the show is.
Okay, well, this is her talking about what she wants on the show.
But let me just tell people. So it's Andy and Helen, for example. Andy's going to kill
me.
Yeah,
leave Andy's name. That's great.
Andy
he's going to love that.
Andy and Helen are on this show, all right? And they're looking for love, and they can't meet people.
They're looking for something,
So Andy and Helen go on naked dates on an island in the Philippines, a beautiful private villa, the whole bit. So Andy and Helen, they start out first. They go out with each other on one date, and then they stay in the house together.
All right, so they fly to the Philippines?
Yeah, they're flying all these naked people to the Philippines.
Well, they're not naked when they fly.
But they probably spent thousands of dollars just to get there to go on this date, right?
Yes.
Well, these people, they bring them in. They're not
Filipinos.
They're getting paid to be on the show. So they're not paying to fly.
So Andy and Helen, they go out with each other first, right? And they see if they like each other. And let's say they do. Now, for 10 weeks, Andy and Helen go on separate dates with different people. So they because there's 20, like Andy goes on 20 dates, she goes on 20 dates, and then you find one person that you're going to keep. So let's say it starts out with Andy and Helen, right? And then all of a sudden, they go on their date, and now Leo and Pat show up to go out with Helen. And then Helen has these naked dates with Leo and Pat. But Andy's still in the house because he's trying to find love with 2 girls. So now Jodi and Alicia show up, and we go on a date with Andy. Get it? So it's like really weird. And then all these people are living in the house together.
Naked.
Yeah. And they hang out at the pool naked.
Yeah.
And,
they walk up to each other.
Okay,
It's like, so say you're on the beach, right? And you're going to see your girl. So you're totally naked. And all of a sudden she comes out from around the bushes and she's like, hi, Leo. How's it going?
Are we talking a 10 or we're talking?
They're all in good shape. Some of them are really hot. Yeah, some of them are really hot.
Okay, now you can show Leo this.
There's none of them that you're saying, hey, they'll put some clothes back on. They're all in good shape. But before I show this, there's one thing I have to explain. There are some cruel dates that they have, at least cruel for the guys, okay? First of all, the guy's naked, all right? Why would you have them go mountain biking?
Yeah, they go mountain biking naked. Like all these dates you go on with one-on-one.
There's no protection there. Here's another one.
Why? Is there really protection when you're on your bike with a pair of pants?
Oh, yeah. It makes a big difference. The riding shorts. You ever had the riding shorts with the padded stuff?
Riding shorts, okay, but I don't ride a bike with riding shorts. So.
I do because I don't like having everything damaged. But you have to imagine, there's no protection there. And here's even better. Horseback riding.
Again, I don't know. Is there really much of a difference between the material between your pants and your balls?
Snorkeling? Would you want to snorkel naked with things dangling down?
I might turn from snorkeling to fishing. You never know. So
They
there's just
do
some
naked
dangers there.
yoga, naked pogo sticking. The guy was on a pogo stick.
Yeah.
I swear I can't make this up. Naked baseball, body painting. One couple actually, they got paper mache and they had to paper mache their favorite body part. So obviously they did their butts. They weren't going to do anything. So he paper mache the girl's butt. This is hysterical. I was telling you this earlier.
Oh, no.
She put so much glue in the paper mache that when she went to rip off the paper mache of the guy's butt, his little ass hairs got caught in the paper mache. And he was like,
This is like an instant waxing.
He got a bikini wax that he wasn't
Yeah.
expecting.
That could be good today. You never
It's
know.
like, hey, that looks good though.
And
Looks
these
good.
people, like the two stars, let's say the Andy and Helen, are very attractive people. Like, why are you on this show?
And here's what we're going to hear a couple of them because they're all it's all BS in my opinion. But this is Natalie. This is season 3, and this is Natalie.
We haven't met them yet.
Well, we're about to meet Natalie. Oh, Natalie.
What's season 2?
You're in season 2. This is 3.
My name is Natalie, and I'm going on Dating Naked
Cute.
because I'm ready to find a true connection. And with all my clothes being off, I'm going to have to open up. And the other person is going to have to open up too. And hopefully, this will be it.
Don't miss Natalie on an
This'll
all-new
be
season
it.
of Dating Naked.
So-
Premieres Wednesday, June
Can I sign up? Because Natalie
There you
looks
go.
pretty good.
Yeah, Natalie's
I was like,
There's a few of
would
them that
you
are pretty
go on
hot.
Dating Naked?
I mean, if I had a shot with Natalie, why not?
If I had a shot with Natalie. Oh my God. I don't know. I
mean, maybe right away she would see that,
she'll see something right away.
I got what it takes.
But here's the interesting thing that when they interview them, first of all, they're all saying how I'm here to find that one, like they're thinking that they're going to get married to this person.
Right.
I'm looking for something long
They
term.
could.
And then you get this guy, like 22-year-old guy from Long Island, which is one of the guys, right? And he looks like somebody from the cast of
Jersey
Shore. And he's over here asking her, so how many relationships? It's like Dr. Phil. How many relationships? Why do you think those relationships failed? I'm going, this guy's never asked any woman these questions, ever. He's got somebody in his head saying, okay, now ask her about her father. It's like, where are they getting this shit from?
I don't know. We had something called Dating Naked back when I was single. It was called the Hamptons for the weekends. That's what it was. It's called a share house, a summer house.
When it comes to a relationship, I want to be consistent.
Here's David.
I think consistency is really important to women so they know what they're getting all the time. And I want to make sure that I'm reliable enough to be that consistent man in a relationship. Oh, yes, I do.
Don't miss David on an all-new season of Dating.
And they're
So-
all naked in the house.
They're all naked, and they're naked as they're doing interviews.
Yeah, they're all
and-
naked in the house too. It's like
Yeah, it gets very interesting, and there are a few little fights there.
tug of war.
Yeah,
No. What are you looking for?
I'm looking for the one. There is
You
one
got
in
the
here.
Fallon chick is like she's the one.
Oh, this is This is one of the crazy, very cute girl.
Oh, she was beautiful.
But you could tell this is the chick that shows up as a stalker.
What's up? I missed you.
That's Fallon.
Get over here.
That's how they meet.
And look, junk on junk right away. Boom.
Oh my God. Fallon's back. Did she come back to seek revenge, lash out because she's so pissed at me, or did she come back because she could forgive me and she wanted to give it another shot? I don't know yet. Just when you thought you'd had enough, you're back.
Just when you thought you had a new girl coming.
Kind of excited to see you.
I
He's
bet
just
he is.
afraid that she's going to chop off his penis in the middle of the night.
I bet he is. He's excited
these
to see her.
feelings, and I think that maybe he did make a mistake. When you first see me, what were your thoughts?
Two thoughts.
Like,
She's either
punch you in the
she's gonna
face?
punch me in the face or she's gonna give me a hug. And you didn't punch me in the face.
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
And
Yeah.
he's a good-looking guy. Like
I've been
he's.
racking my brain
So
for
is
3
she.
weeks in my
Yeah.
apartment.
Oh, is she?
Oh yeah, very good looking girl, but she falls under the category of
Stalker?
stalker, crazy
Oh,
hot.
they had a lot of those on the show too. Like so you go on a date with like one of the girls, and it's just you one-on-one. But then when you bring the girl back to the house, the other girls are there. So obviously, you as the guy, you want to spend time with all the girls, right? Get to talk to
course,
them.
right.
So this one girl was so upset that she wasn't chosen because they boot you from the house. Like so, there's always I think there's as many as 8 people at one time in the house because. You've got the 2 that started off with, and then you got 2 dates and 2 dates. So yeah, there's about 8 people in the house. It's just the weirdest concept. I just don't get it. How do you hide as a guy? How do you hide?
Even The Bachelor is a strange concept because you're not really going out dating 25 people.
Yeah.
You know, on a normal situation where, you know, you're with this girl making out, and then you're with this girl tomorrow, and then with that girl, and then you're trying to figure out which one do you like because, you know, where do you differ from the one that you like to be friends with and one that you really have intimate feelings about?
Right.
Yeah, no, you're going to slip every once in a while and say, hey, wow, you taste just like Susan. You know, it's like, it's going to be like, or she's going to say, hey, you taste just like Susan. Hey, whoa, wait a second.
And so many times, it's, you know, it's not the physical attraction. It's more, sometimes it's the total package. It's not only physically you have to be attracted to that person, but also inside. You got to get to know a person inside. And if you're just on these dating shows, you're just attracted
where
to
you're being filmed and
physical.
directed, and it's like, so, you know, it's a little bit of BS or a lot of BS. Heck, if they spoofed it on the Family Guy, you know it has to be BS. You know, I don't know if you saw. Do you watch the Family Guy?
A little bit.
Okay, Brian the dog went on a dating show and won. And of course, it winds up being a girl who's just an actress who wants to get parts, and she won't talk to him. He falls in love, and
Right.
But it's
Actually, this is a category that I'm very interested in life because I've seen society change with the way people, you know, see each other, and you know, it comes down to a simple thing that in life it's really about attraction. Like, because if you're not attracted to the person, then chances are you're not even going to have a conversation with them.
Yeah.
And
No, absolutely.
Once you pass that attraction and you start spending time with that person, like you realize that person could be somebody that you like because you value their values and the way that they do things and the way that they, you know, treat you. And then there's a point where, you know, intimacy comes into play. And it's almost like you really don't know the person until you are intimate with them. Because it's like you can hang out with this person for 10 weeks and go out and have dinner with them. And really, you're like almost just friends until you kiss.
And
and I'm not even talking about like going all the way sex-wise. I'm talking about just like a simple kiss could be intimacy where then you start to know that person a little bit more.
Sure.
You know?
No, I agree. No,
Well, I think you're different in a relationship than you are with your friends. I mean, if anybody's ever dated somebody that they've known for a long time, and you see a lot of people, it's good and sometimes bad. You're like, wow, this person's totally different than the person that I know just hanging out casually, because you really never get to know that side of them.
Right.
And I'm an honest believer too. We talked about it as well. Is like before you go long term on something, you got to live with each other, because you truly don't know somebody until you have to wake up in the morning and deal with their this and that and deal with their bathroom habits and, you know, and all the other
way
stuff.
they live.
Yeah, the way they live. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, and it is a good example for if you say like there's two people that work together and they go out to lunch every day together and they're just friends and they work together.
Yeah.
And they could be there for like 10 years working together and they're friends and, you know, nothing ever comes of it. But then one night, like they could be out and they're out drinking, having fun. And then the next thing you know, they make out.
Right.
And the next day, like they want to hang out. All of a sudden, it changes.
The entire dynamic changes.
And they've been with each other, maybe let's just say for argument's sake, for like 10 years, like just working together and having lunch and going on functions together. And now that whole relationship just totally changed and it just was a kiss. And, you know, it goes to show you how much involved that kiss and intimacy can change a relationship.
And it could change it for the good or for the bad.
I mean,
sometimes things get ugly after that.
Oh my gosh. I mean, we've seen it, like, again, not to bring up the old Hamptons house, but that's exactly what happened. I mean, a bunch of people came in and we were all strangers and we all were friends, and then somebody kissed somebody and it changes. You're right.
Yeah.
It changes the whole dynamic of the house. And even that goes for the Jersey Shore house.
Yeah.
You know, I've told you stories about the Jersey Shore house too. Same thing, you know, where, oh, you know what, it's just me and you. No one's going to know if we did anything. But, you know, one of us would feel really guilty about. I mean, we've had this conversation before. Things like this has happened.
The whole dynamic changes once there's intimacy. The whole dynamic changes.
Well, that's why like these things like Tinder become like such a strange thing, because here you are, you're swiping and you're just on the attraction, which is very important, because if you're not attracted, then you're not going to swipe.
Yeah.
You know, right.
Yeah, yeah.
And then next thing you know, you go out with the person and all you need is just a kiss. And then you find out that you actually have something, you know, to go on, and that's where it goes from there.
Yeah, sure.
They have some connection. Do you want to hear a little bit of a cat fight on this one?
No, I'm
No,
done.
you don't want the cat
I'm
fight?
done with naked dating.
You're done with naked dating?
Although I
she's,
can't.
by the way, she's watched every episode of
Just
the first
season
2 seasons.
two.
No, season 1 and 2.
I
Don't
didn't see
believe her.
season 1 and 2.
Yes, you did.
But you can be casted for VH1's dating naked. Are you tired of being single? Do you find the bar scene
Oh,
exhausting?
this is great.
Tried every online dating site imaginable and not finding anyone worth your time? For those who are ready to make themselves vulnerable and fully expose who they are. This dating show provides the chance to find love. Interested males and females who appear to be between the ages of 24 and 32 should respond
That's
and
me.
tell us.
There you go.
Hold on, I'm taking off my shirt right now.
He's going to do the naked podcast and tell us a little bit about yourself and your dating history. What has gone wrong? What are you looking for in a relationship? And if you want to apply, the name of the company is called Lighthearted. Light, L-I-G-H, Hearted, Hearted.com. And it's dating naked casting. It's out there. So if you want, look at Leo's going, dated naked. No, you don't need dating naked. Trust me. Although you'd probably be a fun naked date because Leo and I have partied before and he's a lot of fun. So
He wouldn't care. It'd be
that
like,
would be
you know,
a
whatever.
fun.
Yeah.
I can see Leo showing a girl a good time on a naked date. That's all I'm going to say. Next topic. Next.
You know what she means by a good time, right?
That's right.
Okay.
He knows.
Come over here where the bushes are, like where the video camera can't see us.
That's right.
Oh my gosh.
That's right.
Let's talk. Sit on my lap and let's talk about the first thing that pops
Yeah,
up.
Yeah, what a
exactly.
fun-
Wow, you meet the guy naked dating. Wow, what a nice package. Thank
Hey.
you. Hey.
Well, it's kind of
How
like
do you
the
not
one
look?
girl who dated the one guy, and she's like, "Oh, he's nice," and the last thing she says, as her entire facial expression changes, and he's hung. You know, it's like, yeah,
See,
we know what.
Who
we
watched
know what
naked dating besides me?
Yeah.
Right here.
Well, I had no choice. It was on for 2 days straight. I had to leave the house to see anything else.
And then when he came back, naked dating
It was on his
still
head.
on.
Yes, I'm like,
I'm hooked. I'm gonna start watching. Forget about watching House of Cards, like something that really makes sense
Yeah, exactly.
and logical. I'm going right to that show.
there's absolutely, you don't have to think about anything.
Oh my gosh.
There's no trying to figure out
right.
the plot twist or no.
Well, there are plot twists.
Is there a way to get it like uncensored? Let's.
That's
you're
what
right.
I want to know. I want to
mean,
see this
VH1
dude. He was hot. I wanna
VH1
see
needs
what he was
to
packing.
VH1 needs to syndicate this to Cinemax, and then then it could be like the
Imagine
late
being
night.
the editor on that show. Oh, well, I see Bush.
Let me tell you something. The editor on that show has to be
Ain't gonna see
really.
no Bush on that show.
You know, it's all well
it's
trimmed.
all well. The Guardian is trimmed.
They're all getting exactly. They're all getting everything trimmed up nice and neat before they go on that show.
Nobody's going with the
no-
Angela Davis.
No. It's like, oh, so you're into the 70s look. Okay.
I'm getting a nice tattoo on the back of my ass that says an arrow pointing out, and it's gonna say exit only.
Exit only, that's right.
There are lots of tattoos, by the way, on dating naked. Oh my gosh! All right, so let's get on to a serious subject that you probably have.
Serious?
A serious subject that Leo probably has a lot to say about it. Did you know about that whole gorilla thing at the zoo? Did you hear about that?
Yes.
Wow! Wow! I mean, what kind of mom would let her kid? How did she not see this kid crawling around? I mean,
Well, it's 4, so it's probably running around.
what do you
I
think of
don't
the
know-
whole thing?
I don't know everything exactly that happened. I just kind of heard it on the radio and what they were talking about it. But obviously, it was an accident that the kid got into the cage.
But how?
And now,
how do you mean?
now, if there was negligent on the zoo's part, then they're going to have to compensate for that, logically. The fact that the gorilla was there and they shot him, people say that why didn't they tranquilize him? But, it seems like today everybody wants both sides of the card.
Yeah.
So, if they would have tranquilized him and he didn't drop and he killed the kid, then the parents of the kid would have been saying, why didn't you shoot him and just kill him?
Yeah.
Now, so they took it the other way and they shot him and killed him. And everybody's saying, well, why did you shoot him and kill him?
Well, they said in one of the reports that the reason why they didn't tranquilize him was because once the kid went in, he seemed very agitated and disoriented. Like he's like, hey, what's going on here?
Well, people were
and
screaming at him.
The tranquilizer would not have taken effect immediately. It would have taken several minutes.
Yeah,
And in
absolutely.
those several minutes, let's face it, the gorilla is an extraordinarily strong animal. It wouldn't take much. It wouldn't take much to kill a full-grown human being, let alone a 4-year-old child. But I talked about this. There's two things that really bother me here. One, how the hell does a 4-year-old kid manage to get into one of these enclosures? You would think that they would have a little bit more protection, because most of the zoos I've gone to, it's a little tough. I mean, you'd have to really work at it.
Well,
to get
they
into
said
something
he
like that.
made his way through wire and bushes. So the kid had to make his way through wire and bushes to fall into the cage.
Yeah.
But where was his mom, like, when the kid was crawling through wires and bushes?
Yeah, and I know that you're gonna that her excuse is, look, if you've ever had a 4-year-old, you know that they're hard to keep a track of the whole time. But I know with us, we took our 4-year-old nephew he was 4 at the time. He's like 27 now, I think. But we took him to the zoo, and trust me, we were eyes on all the time, especially around stuff like that. Because like
LA Zoo,
you just can't
LA
take
Zoo.
you just can't take the chance if you're around something like that, because he falls in. If it's a tiger enclosure or anything like that, you aren't making it out of that.
Well, listen, I mean, if your kid gets away from you and you lose pain, you lose, you're paying attention to him, you lose attention of him, and he gets hurt. I don't think there's anything that you could possibly do to help that family, that mother or father, like, get over that whole scenario.
Sure.
I mean, they got to live with it the rest of their lives.
Oh, absolutely.
And, they could sit there and say that the zoo was negligent, and I'm sure they'll have investigators to find out whether, let's say the fence was open or something. Maybe there was a reason
or
that they're
too
negligent.
easily accessed. And I think that's going to probably be, because again, it's a matter of, there's always a fence there, but how easy is it to get through or over that fence?
But where were the other people? I mean, I know when we went to San Diego Zoo and we saw the gorillas, it was glass. It was first of all, it was very, very
There was
thick
no way
glass.
for you to get over that thing.
Yeah.
You would have had to have scaled a 10 or 12-foot wall in order to get in to this enclosure. I mean, honestly, it was that big. There was no little fence you could hop over and jump in. There were ones that had short fences like that. There were like the ones where they had like some of the llamas and stuff like that. Yeah, if you were a jerk, you could hop the little fence, but still you had to hop down, and then there's a drop. There was still no real.
But where were the other people? I mean, I know that there had to be that mother and her 4-year-old couldn't have been the only people at the gorilla exhibit that day. I mean, where were the other people? Weren't they like going, "Oh, your son, he's a little too close." He's a little too close.
Obviously, he was a sneaky little shit. So he obviously figured out a way to get around everybody and get into that enclosure. Why, even at 4 years old, he would decide to do that, I have no idea. But I guess at 4 years old, you're like, "Oh, look,"
I tend to think, with my experience, I've been in office of many years in the city of New York, that these things happen extremely quickly.
Yeah.
It's not like you see it playing out in your eyes. It just happens so quickly, and you can't even fathom like what is going on.
Yeah.
And then there's also the other side of looking at it, that gorilla really was sitting there in his cage, innocent, not really bothering anybody, and he got killed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't.
Yeah.
He didn't pick that day, and he didn't bother anybody. It
No.
was a normal day.
Somebody fell
Yeah.
into his domain.
Right.
Something happened in his world, which could happen to any of us. I mean, not a gorilla, but something can happen to us in our world. We can come across somebody that potentially harms us.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's tragic and it's sad, but I think at the end of the day, it's an accident. And, if there is negligent, then there's negligent, but there's not much that you can really do about it,
Well, the feds are investigating now.
Yeah, I'm sure that they are.
The latest news is that the feds are investigating it because you got a bunch of people that are just up in arms. And the mom did post like a comment on her Facebook page, and then it was pulled down. So she said something to defended herself, but it didn't sound right, and it was later pulled down. So
Right.
this story is not going to go away. I mean, I feel bad. I mean, I got to be honest with you. I feel bad for the gorilla. I do.
Of course.
Well, like I said, he
wasn't doing anything.
He was sitting there eating in his own cage, not even bothering anybody. and he got killed.
17-year-old. I mean, you see the zookeeper, the handler of that animal. The poor man was in tears. The guy who
Shot him?
raised
raised him,
the
right.
gorilla from a baby.
Right.
And then there were 2 other gorillas in the tank
Yeah, two
with him. 2
females, yeah.
females that saw the whole thing. So it's just
It's a very sad thing, and on both parts of the parties.
yeah.
If it went a different way, nobody would have been happy either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do think that it's like anything else. It's like that recently you had that one woman that jumped into a tiger enclosure to get her hat or retrieve a hat or something stupid like that.
Right.
And you saw the video of it and you're like, and there was another little fence there, but you could sense that the tiger, if they wanted to, could get over it.
Right.
And you're just like, okay, how important is that hat that you think you can just jump in there and just... So obviously some of these enclosures are too easy to access from the outside.
I've never been to
and
one
I
of
think that
those
is an
yet.
issue.
I mean,
well,
I've
we've seen
I've never seen an enclosure that's that easy to get into.
because the zoos we've been to have been a little bit better protected, but there are some that obviously it's just a short little, but it's usually a short little fence with a drop off. So if you are not, if you're a kid,
There's always
you're
like
not
a
thinking about-
commode or something that's usually, separating
Yeah.
Yeah.
the part of the public to the...
Yeah, there's
From the
gonna be
animal,
there's gonna be a
Right.
10 or 12 foot drop.
Yeah.
That's gonna kind of be what prevents you. But
I
you
remember the
still need
elephants
to.
were very close to us in San Diego Zoo. Weren't we able to actually touch the trunk of an elephant in San Diego
Yeah, because
Zoo?
they brought it over to the fence, and the elephants that are there are pretty laid back. They're not as aggressive. They've been,
Sure.
but they're bored into captivity. But when you deal with a gorilla is a little bit more
Do you remember
aggressive.
the gorilla
animal.
we saw in San Diego Zoo? Though?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember the one that brought us? He sat at the glass.
Yeah.
And let the guy draw him.
Yeah.
That was amazing. The gorilla right up against the glass, and there was an artist with a sketch pad, and the gorilla just sat there and posed for the guy.
And he would
let
draw him,
him.
show him the picture, and he would look at it, and then he'd
was
pose again. And it'd do
amazing.
he was like he was doing
Like he knew it.
Like he
Yeah.
knew it.
It was like the coolest thing I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was amazing. That was amazing.
You know what, though? I mean, no matter what, any of these animals are never predictable.
No.
I mean, how
true.
many trainers that have been training the killer whales
Yep.
that have gotten killed? I mean,
Yes.
and the tigers that, do it with the magicians and stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
they are just not predictable. So
Yeah.
I think everybody knows that there's a dangerous risk when they put themselves in there.
Yes.
And that's what they have to abide by, right? If they do that.
And
Yeah.
some animals aren't even trying to hurt you. They're just like with Siegfried and Roy, the tiger was not trying to hurt him.
They're not. They're animals. Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
how
just
can you
like-
possibly even think what they're thinking?
Yeah.
They could be living in a habitat for years like
Yeah.
normal
Something
and
could
everything
just-
is fine.
And all of a sudden you just piss them off, and they just do some little swipe, and boom.
Well, like a dog. I'm sure being an officer, you probably see dogs that are normal, like everyday dogs, but somebody just one day the dog just loses it.
Yeah.
You hear stories like that all the time. I mean, they say pit bulls are one of the most gentlest dogs, but it's the people that train these pit bulls to be aggressive.
They're very loyal dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where the part comes in, where they have loyalty to their owners and their masters, that they lose control, thinking that somebody's going to be basically interfering with that loyalty.
Yeah, and assault them, or they think they're going to hurt them, and something
Yeah.
like that, and they're like, no, you ain't doing that.
Yeah, you're not
But
coming.
it's like you see a lot of like with the tigers. The tigers sometimes will injure just out of just doing like with Siegfried and Roy. He had a heart attack, and when they sit there and looked at a stroke, they tried to figure out what it was. The tiger had such a bond with him. He saw him go down, realized he was injured, and he just thought, well, I'm just going to carry him off to safety. It's just kind of an instinctive thing. Well, when a tiger does that,
Yeah.
he
does.
we don't have the protection that another tiger does. That
Right.
it wouldn't hurt another tiger, but it just grabbed it by the neck. Because let's face it, if that tiger wanted to kill him, it would just take one shake of the head and he would have been done.
Of course.
But he was, and in a lot of those situations, you just never know. If an elephant just gets pissed off and sits on you, it's over. Or just goes, I'm going to sit down, and you're in the wrong place at the wrong time.
It's tragic. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So were you on a JetBlue? Did you take JetBlue?
I took United.
Were there crazy people dressed on your plane?
No. Was this
Coming to
supposed to be?
Vegas.
Well, I guess
It happens apparently more often than we know.
I guess on JetBlue, the airline apologized to a passenger for not permitting her on the plane due to her outfit. She had on some really short shorts on.
Yeah, we'll have
She
to show
must have
him
been
these.
part of the dating show.
Right?
Dating naked.
Dating naked. So she, I guess
And she looks good in them, so
She was a burlesque dancer, and she had on these little short shorts. And JetBlue told her that she wasn't. They didn't want her to be boarding the plane dressed like that.
Somebody must have said something to JetBlue that was on the plane that said like she's inappropriate.
Yeah.
And
It
then
was
they
most
had-
likely a complaint from like a parent or something like that.
I
or
would have
something.
to say so. I mean, I don't think.
I mean, I see. Come on, we see this. We see people wearing shorts like this all the time. But wouldn't you be cold? I mean, I know when I'm on the plane, I would not be wearing. Alicia is sitting in the in the studio with us. Alicia, booty shorts, really?
But that's not the first time that you've had people
plane.
that have been kicked off for inappropriate attire either. The airlines do kind of, if they decide they don't like the way you're dressed, they're not going to let you on.
Somebody had a T-shirt, I think, one time. I think I heard a story about somebody who had like an FU T-shirt or something like that, and people complained, and JetBlue gave him a JetBlue T-shirt, and they told him to put it on, and he was like, "No."
See, now if it was me and they kicked this girl off, I would have complained that they kicked her off.
So would Leo.
We would have been like, "Yeah, no, sit her over here. Come
Leo
on."
wants a seat next to her.
No, we'll cover her up. It's okay. We got.
Yeah.
I got that blanket for $7.
Come sit next to me. I'm going to cast in the Dating Naked show.
The Dating Naked show. Oh my god.
Yeah, we're gonna do a little casting.
It's gonna be real easy for you. There's not gonna be much to take off.
That's right.
She was on her way to the Dating Naked show. No, I'm only kidding. Did you guys hear about how Adele called somebody out for bringing their tripod? You're gonna love this. He's a videographer. Leo, you go to concerts, I'm sure, right, all the time. I mean, we all take out our cell phones and we, videotape Billy Joel singing Piano Man or whatever. But some lady actually bought a ticket to an Adele concert and brought her tripod with her and a video camera and was videotaping the Adele concert from her seat.
Okay, well,
and
first
Adele
off-
called her ass out.
First off, I've been to concerts and I've been to events, plenty of events where they don't allow the filming. How the hell do you get in with a video camera and a tripod?
We went to go see Jim Norton.
Here's
We
what-
couldn't take a
You're not,
picture.
Pat. You're not coming in wearing that.
Yeah, exactly. If you're wearing the
have your booty shorts
with
on.
a camera in between your crotch.
exactly, because I'd be like, "Go right on ahead."
Yeah, excuse me, you got some sort of package in there.
Yeah.
On Dating Naked, there'd be no place to put it. Hey, is that a tripod? No.
You
that's-
got
Happy to see you.
You got some sort of package in the front of your hips over here.
But
We're
it
not
ain't a
really
camera.
sure if it's a transgender thing,
It's a tripod.
It's a new prosthetic device.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, she yelled at the woman and she told the woman to stop filming her concert with a tripod and video camera. And everybody's putting, seriously? Really?
Did she ask the sound guy for a feed off the board too, or is
I don't
this?
know. I don't
I think technically you're not even allowed, and I think they say it in the beginning of the
do.
concert
They
that you're not
absolutely
allowed to have a recording device.
Not even
so-
your phone. They don't even want you pulling out your phone.
That's correct.
Leo,
Yeah.
we went to go see Jim Norton, the comedian from the Opie radio show on
Yes.
Sirius.
Opie and Jim.
And we weren't even allowed to take video of him telling a joke on our cell phone. Imagine, how do these people get in with these? And they're pretty strict. If you go see a show, in Vegas, like J-Lo or any of
I've
those
seen the
people.
Michael Jackson show, and I've seen them tell people that they have to put their phones away. I mean,
Yeah.
it only kind of makes sense, though. I mean, these artists are trying to make, money, and they don't want their content to be, blasted all over the internet. And
Yeah. Plus, you want to enjoy the moment, too. I mean, nowadays, we're so crazy with our cell phones. We're always looking to get that video,
Yeah, what do they do with those videos? I don't get it.
Who knows?
Because
Put
I
it on
take some
Facebook.
videos and they're in my phone and they're from 10 years ago and I never even watched them.
Yeah, you're like-
and they're just storing space and I'm like, should I delete this? And I'm like, but I never watch it. And
Maybe you should get a phone that's less than 10 years old. I think maybe that'll help.
no, my phone is not 10 years old.
The videos are 10 years old.
It's 11 years old, by the way.
He's transferring his stuff over from an old phone.
I still have video from Seattle on my phone from last year. I'm sure you do too.
I have video of some stuff that I just don't even know why the hell I have it on my phone.
I know.
Yeah, if
I
you don't know why it's there, it's like, what? One of my favorite incidents.
I agree.
If you remember, we were at a show a couple years ago, and I think it was one of the impersonator shows, and they were very explicit about not filming it. And somebody went all the way up to the front of the stage. See if you remember who it was.
Oh, yeah.
and
was
just
it an
started
impersonator
filming.
show? I was thinking it was Britney.
Was it Britney? No, it wasn't Britney.
But the drag queens in the front row of Britney.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It wasn't a drag queen that was filming.
No, it was the drag queen show.
Was it the drag queen show?
Was
You
it
sure?
Frankie Marino? What show were
I
you
don't think
thinking
it was
of?
Frankie Marino. It
Which
was. It was. It was either one of the Rat Pack shows or the American Legends or whatever it is.
Oh, okay.
And we're sitting there, and they'd already busted a couple people for filming, and all of a sudden somebody just blatantly walks up and starts filming.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look at this asshole up here at the stage filming, right? Who does he think he is? And the security goes up and walks around. He turns around. It's Flavor Flav.
Oh.
Big old watch on. He's got the watch around his neck, and he's smiling from ear to ear. And I'm just like,
Flavor Flav, yeah.
Flavor Flav was up there filming. He just thought, what the hell? I'll just give it a try. It's like as soon as he said,
That's funny.
"Who does that asshole think he is?" Turn around, there he is, Flavor Flav. I'm like, all right, that makes sense.
Wow, I do remember, and he got to keep the video and didn't get kicked out of the show.
No, they just took him back to his
Oh
seat.
no, it was Cheap Trick.
Cheap Trick. Okay.
It was Cheap Trick. Flavor Flav was at Cheap Trick.
That's what it was, and that was a few years ago. Cheap Trick.
It was
when they
the
did
Sergeant Pepper's Cheap Trick show at
Flavor
Valley.
Flav was there?
Yeah, it was, I
He was
know.
in the
How
audience.
was he doing that?
In the audience, yeah.
He was in the audience, yeah.
Yeah, again, who would think that Flavor Flav would go see Cheap Trick doing?
There must have been free tickets.
It had to be comped, yeah, right. But and he liked it enough that he went up there to film it, and we're just like, what? And sure, we saw that show twice too.
Yeah, we did.
That was an amazing show.
Yeah, it was a
It
good
really
show.
was incredible.
Yeah, it was
So
really
they
good.
don't do it anymore. At least I don't think so. But if they did,
no.
I'd go see it again.
No, they just got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yes, they did.
They did.
Yes, they did.
They
Very
were
nice.
Yep, they were awesome. Which, by the way, Leo and I, you were on that trip to Cleveland, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that was great.
Yep,
we went
it
to
was.
we went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And that's
It was
probably
tremendous.
yeah, that's probably one of the only things to do in Cleveland.
Yeah, that and strip clubs, right?
That too. Well, even then, it's not the same as a
And as soon as
Vegas
you
club.
yeah, but of course,
Leo's
as soon
trying
as
to be good.
You told the strippers you were from Vegas, and they all wanted to fly back with you because they're like,
They
oh,
did.
Vegas.
They did. Were you with me the night I went to the strip
I don't
club?
remember.
You were.
I
Yeah.
probably was.
Yeah, he probably wasn't paying attention to you. though.
No,
He's probably
nobody
paying
was.
attention to,
Nobody was. I went
yeah.
that night. Yes, and the strippers did ask me what it's like to be a DJ and what's it like to live in Las Vegas and can I come to Vegas with you?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure my husband would love you to move in with us.
Oh yeah.
Will you walk around naked, dating naked? But yeah, no. But yeah, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is really, really cool. So Leo and I are getting ready to go to Dallas together.
That's right.
Yes.
In a few weeks, 6 weeks, Leo.
Is it that close?
It's that
Yeah.
close. It's 6 weeks. So after we get done with the radio show, Alicia, we have to head over to Boot Barn
Yeah.
on our way to go grab
they want-
something to eat.
They want to get me a.
No, I want to get one too. I need one.
cowboy hat.
I need
They
one
use
too.
cowboy
Yeah,
hats.
yeah. So
Let's
Leo's-
just hope there's no mass flooding like there has been there recently a few
Yeah,
times.
dude.
Dallas has been getting
It's been getting a
nailed
lot of
this
rain.
year.
Like we're done. Like Nate, Glenn, no rain.
Do the
No rain.
reverse rain god dance. Just make it dry. It's already humid enough as it is.
All right, Pat. So I know we only have a few more minutes left, and people have been asking us about what we thought of the season finale of. Leo doesn't watch it. Oh well, it's not the Walking Dead, so don't worry. We won't
it's
spoil
Fear the
anything. It's
Walking
Fear.
Dead.
It's the sequel. So we're not going to
Not
spoil
sequel.
it.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm not afraid if you tell me what's going on.
You know,
Yeah,
some
I
people
won't
are like,
remember.
"Oh my god, I can't believe you spoiled it." And it's all these weeks later. You know.
So is The Walking Dead still running?
Yes,
Yes.
Walking Dead is
Okay.
still right. Fear the Walking Dead is not a sequel. It's
no,
actually
it's a companion
It's a companion show. It's actually based out of Southern California, and what it is it started before, like right as the outbreak happens, and how people are reacting to it. So we get a little more backstory on what's going on
On
when
how it started.
and show how the
Right.
military takes over the neighborhoods and they barricade off neighborhoods, and then how the military starts blowing up neighborhoods to keep things from spreading. So now we're in the point where they're trying to find a new place, but they're only 2.5 or 3 weeks, they said,
Yeah.
into the whole thing.
Yeah.
And
Is
they're
Rick in it or no?
Rick would have been in the hospital had
Oh,
this
right,
had
okay.
so
but it's
Rick was
totally different
After
people.
he got shot, right?
'Cause
Yeah.
it's
yeah,
based.
he's
It was
still-
based in L.A. and then now they're in Rosarito Beach.
Okay.
So they're
Rosarito is Mexico.
is Mexico. They're the north part of Mexico. It's just south of Tijuana.
This
is where they are.
this series of this cast is on an actual yacht. How cool is that to
Yeah,
be on
they
a
were.
yacht during the zombie apocalypse? That's pretty
A
cool.
big yacht.
and
That's
not
the
like
best
a
place to
shitty
be,
yacht.
unless
Yeah, not a
some of the
shitty
guys
yacht.
on there.
Yeah.
And they're
Then you shit
naked.
out of luck.
No,
Oh, they're naked. Yeah, right.
they're naked. No, they're not naked.
Like what the hell?
Everybody's gonna.
That way we know. If you turn in more ways than one, we'll know.
I'm surprised that there wasn't a lot more sex on that show to begin with.
Which one?
The
fir-
Walking Dead.
Oh yeah.
Well,
'Cause if you
Shane and
think the world's
Lori. I mean,
Yeah, but
Shane-
I'm just saying I thought that there would be more because it's
the
like,
world's
you know,
gonna end.
the world is going to end and it's like, you know.
It's like,
Yeah.
look, we kind of like each other. The world's gonna end. Why not?
But the last
right?
thing you want to do is get knocked up during the
Hey,
zombie apocalypse.
That's why you break into the 7-Eleven and take a bunch of boxes of condoms with you. That's part of the safety. That's part of the survival preparation.
This is a
kit
great stand-up for Pat and
for,
Jodi.
You can always count days, Pat.
That's right.
It's not that hard.
Oh no, that's
know.
still not reliable enough. No.
It could be.
Oh my God. How did we go from this to this? Hey, that's us. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, that sounds more like the Catholic version of birth control. It's like the what they call the rhythm method or whatever it is. Those days, yeah. Yeah, I prefer the let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Anyway, so Fear the Walking Dead.
12, 13. What day is it anyway?
I'm like, I don't care.
Is it 2 weeks or is it 1 week? I'm not sure. Do you know?
There's a zombie biting at my ass. I have no idea.
Yeah.
You know, we got to see a naked zombie.
That's right. And you would think that there would be a bunch of naked zombies. That would be, to me, because it's not like they care if their clothes are on. You know that some of them are getting their clothes or they died in the bathtub after taking a shower. You know there's got to be at least
we did see a few
naked
zombies with the governor. Remember when he went to go, the governor went to that apartment where he meets the girl that now the governor got a lot of action.
The governor got a lot
the governor gets a lot of action on that show.
He's getting some
Andrea, he had that one girl, the brunette, that Tyrese was banging for a while.
Yeah.
The governor is the man. Although now Rick also, you haven't seen 2 seasons, but Rick starts to get a little
He's
tip.
picking up his game.
Yeah,
we're happy about that. We want to see Rick loosen up a little bit, and I think that's what it takes. I think he needs to, and
then you had Abraham, who hooked up with Rosita, beautiful Rosita, and then he breaks up with Rosita to go with the black chick, and I can't remember what her name is, off the Tyrese's sister.
Yeah,
I can't remember her name off the top of my head right now.
With the dreadlocks?
No, that's Michonne.
That's Michonne.
Right, Michonne.
Yeah,
right.
Michonne. No. I forgot what Tyrese's sister's name. I know, me too.
Very pretty girl, though.
But he said the only reason why he hooked up with Rosita was because I thought that you were the last woman on the earth. And
now, this is the line that he tells her. When we got together, I thought you were the last woman on earth, and now I realize you're not. And that was his reasoning for
breaking up with her.
Let's just say it didn't get pretty after that. It was like, how would you, even if you're not in the zombie apocalypse, how do you use that line, breaking up with somebody? That's how you get killed in any existence or what. You just don't do that. As to a Hispanic woman, you tell a Hispanic woman that? Are you crazy?
At least it is.
And she knows how to use a gun and a knife? Holy smokes. Man, that was risky. Yeah. I don't know. I think he's kind of nuts for that.
Yep.
That was crazy. But Fear the Walking Dead, let's get back to that. You know that they wound up in Rosarita Beach. They wound up at Thomas Abigail's winery, his beautiful estate that he had there, only to find out that Thomas had been bitten just before they got there. Mm-hmm. So here they are. They think they found this
paradise, safe haven with big walls and stuff like that.
And then they realize, of course, that she was like the maid, the nanny.
She was the maid.
She was the maid,
the
housekeeper. But she also kind of raised Thomas Abigail's like the rich guy that owned it. His parents owned it.
Right, I gotcha.
And the maid that raised him was like very maternal with him, but she was also very protective, and she was also very Catholic, but very Catholic in the sense of believed in all the crazy afterlife stuff and sort of the superstitious, believed in ghosts, and she thought that the zombie apocalypse was nothing more than this is the next stage of our evolution. So these people are not dead; they're in the next stage of our evolution. So when one of her sons is killed, she's like, "Well, did you shoot him in the head? No, then he's okay. He'll come back to me." So we got a crazy lady. We got Reuben Blades, who was my favorite character in this whole thing because he was like some crazy militant in when he was younger. But he's the only one that knows how to actually survive in all this stuff. And it turns out that there's zombies on the winery that are down in the wines. Why do you put why do you put zombies in the wine cellar? There's good wine in that wine cellar. Don't put zombies in the wine cellar.
It's kind of like Herschel's farm. Remember you saw that part,
the
right?
Barn?
Yes.
Okay.
Their barn, they put their barn had a bunch of wine in it. Would you telling me that makes any sense?
Ridiculous.
Put them somewhere where
Put
there's
them in
no
a barn.
wine. You need to look. If you have wine in the apocalypse, you need to preserve that wine
because you ain't going to get any more.
No, well, they were still growing it. They were still growing it there. I mean, not as much, but still, there's a finite amount of wine left. You got to preserve that. I don't want to have to fight through zombies to get some wine for dinner. I just want to open up the damn cask and pour.
Oh my God. So anyway, the show season finale ends with some of the characters still at the I was going to say the farm, at the winery.
Let's just say that the winery ends up the same way as the barn. So,
So that's our cliffhanger. So
that's our
kind of
cliffhanger.
it
So we
kind
don't
of
know who
parallels.
died and who didn't die,
Yeah.
and certain cast members went off on their own, and but it's finally starting to get good. One of the complaints that we had was that there were very few characters that we could really get into. You know, in The Walking Dead, there were several characters that you really loved or hated, but you could really get into those characters. You really got behind them.
You
Fear
get
the Walking Dead,
anxiety.
you were just like. Just die already. I'm just, I'm so
Fear
dead.
the Walking Dead.
Fear the Walking
Yeah.
Dead, the character. But now some of the characters are finally coming around to
Some
where
of
you
them.
actually have some connection with them. But that's, to me, has been the big issue, is that you couldn't make a connection with some of these people, and you just
So who
really
do you?
didn't.
So who do you want to live?
Well, Ruben Blades, I think, is a very interesting character. His character is very interesting in that, one, he is where he's at a point now, 2.5 weeks in, that Rick is 2.5 years in, as far as, and his group, as far as the ability to adjust to this environment. He knows not to trust people. He knows what the real real fear is not going to be the dead, but the living.
Right. Yeah.
And what people are going to try and do, and he's already superstitious, or he's already very not paranoid in a sense, but he's very suspect of anybody new that comes in. What are their intentions?
Of course.
So he's got that ability to survive, but just like Rick, he's having some mental issues now. He's breaking down because he lost his wife, and again, he's breaking down for the same reason that Rick did. Rick lost his wife, and he lost his mind. Now he's kind of losing his mind. He's seeing his dead wife. There's some of the storylines are starting to sound a little familiar.
Actually they are. Yeah. Now that you're saying
Seeing
it out
and
loud.
hearing his dead wife, and all of a sudden I'm like, okay, guys, really?
And the zombies and the
But
the one character that we do want to see die is Chris, the psycho
kid?
son who is standing over. He's like, he didn't see Lizzie yet. I don't think he's gotten to Lizzie and the flowers.
Let's just say an annoying teenager where you're just
that
like,
has to go. He has to go.
we just want to see the zombies rip you apart in the worst way. You are such an annoying.
He wants to kill living people, but not like bad living people. He just wants to kill people.
Right.
So
he's turned into a sociopath.
In that situation, you don't have any law and order. There really isn't any law and order, at all. So what do you do when you have somebody who's, like a psychopath? You got to kill them before they kill you. So yeah, okay. So anyway,
but it's getting better. I am enjoying the show. Getting into the show now. I can't wait until the next season of The Walking Dead comes on, because that's still one of my favorite shows.
Yeah, it's all our
Game
favorite.
of Thrones, that we really didn't get into too much, but has gotten really good. Game of Thrones is the polar opposite of dating naked or naked dating, whatever it is. Whereas when you're watching naked people date, you could just sit back and laugh, and you don't have to think about anything.
well, you have to think about something.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
did
like,
I just see Bush? No.
Hey, unblur that
The
a little
object
bit.
is not to try to think about things.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. That guy on Naked Dating was awfully hot. That's all I have to say. Hello.
Game of Thrones, there's some great plot twists, and things are starting to come around that started in the first season, and I mean, it's just been amazing. And for some reason, they've ended the last 3 episodes.
Yeah.
With the same person.
The Dragon Queen.
That's right. She's been amazing. Do you watch Game of Thrones?
No, I haven't watched it yet.
It's another one you get addicted to. It's
I'm sure I'm going to get to it,
He's on House of Cards.
I'm
He's
stuck
just
on House of Cards.
and I
right
haven't
now.
watched House of Cards yet.
So, yeah,
it's like
so we're
that's
gonna-
another one of those shows you got to be careful, because the moment you watch it, you get hooked. I'm like,
do.
I'm going to need a weekend to just binge watch that.
But Leo says it's on Netflix.
That's right. So we can
So
watch
just
it on
like
Netflix.
we saw Z Nation and what's that one? The Killer. What was that show about the guy who is oh God, the
Making of a Murder.
Making of a Murderer?
Great series.
You
Yes.
saw that too?
Yes. Yeah.
Great series.
What do you think? Was he guilty or
I
not
think
guilty?
definitely it's innocent.
Definitely innocent.
Yeah.
So who do you think could have did it?
I think a family member did it.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, because the guy was dumb, but he wasn't that dumb.
There's no way
There's
that
too
he
many
raped her
coincidences.
and sliced her up in the bedroom, and they didn't find 1 ounce of nothing. No
I
No
agree.
blood. Yeah.
No DNA, no nothing. I mean, and why would he put the car on his property when he had a simple crusher? He could have destroyed the car. That doesn't make sense.
And what's funny, in the shot, you see the SUV, and then off in the distance, which is just a 20 or 30 yards
Yes,
away, you see the
right.
crusher.
Yeah,
and
it
you want to
just
use
doesn't
it.
make logical sense.
But it's parked right on the property, and it's sitting there with just very lazily stuff kind of stacked on it.
Yeah.
Like, we kind of sort of made it want to look like somebody covered it up. And then the keys magically appear after the third search, and they were in just right out in the open.
By the 2 investigators that arrested him from the previous charge.
That were part
that
of
weren't supposed to be part of the investigation at all.
and that were part of the lawsuit.
Yeah.
That they were
Yeah.
to the against it. So a lot of that stuff just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. We were addicted to it, too.
It was
It was
a
very good
total
TV.
binge watching.
Yeah.
You're just like you're looking and it's like 3 a.m. going, oh crap! I can't start another episode.
Yeah.
I'll be watching the sun come
But
up.
he must have pissed somebody off.
Oh, he did because he sued him.
Well, I mean, it all goes down to the whole town, and the town was against him, and the town didn't like that he got out because
Right.
he basically made a fool of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when he was going to sue them, all of a sudden, as he's suing them, all this other stuff comes up magically.
Yeah.
Which is
And
just
that kid, the way they got his nephew, to say things, the
What
way
a
they
shame.
twisted.
I mean,
that,
just,
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that
Wow.
happens every day. That happens every day in society where they pressure people to do things that they're not supposed to do.
Yeah, and a kid like that is too easily persuaded. He
Well,
just
he had
wasn't smart.
He had
It-
learning
he was-
disabilities.
yeah.
He wasn't quite right.
I think they said he had like a 72 IQ or something. He was legally.
He wasn't supposed to be. He wasn't supposed to be investigated without an adult.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
right,
he was.
right there just shows you that
yeah.
they failed to follow the proper protocol.
And every time they got into when they tried to bring up these points to the judge went, nope,
Yeah, they didn't want to hear it.
don't want to hear it. It's like, wait, you have actual legal precedents here that makes sense, and that they broke all the no.
But I think there's another series that's attached to that has some investigations with his brother or something like that.
Oh, wow.
I haven't seen those. I would love to see that because it's an
There's
interesting
something else,
story.
there's some other episodes that talk about his brother possibly being involved.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah. No, we'll definitely have to look into that because we were glued to it those few weeks.
We binge watched totally.
I mean, we
binge
couldn't
watched.
sleep. Let's see it. It's amazing how something like that can just.
And Jody would fall asleep, and I would stay and watch another episode or two. What happened? What happened? I'm like, you got to watch it. I can't tell you.
And then
You
we'd
gotta
watch it again the next day when I would wake up. So it was awesome. So
It was very good.
all right.
So believe it or not, the hour has passed. We've already gone an entire hour.
time to
It
get
goes by
Leo a
pretty quick.
cowboy hat.
I know we got to get Leo a cowboy hat.
Jody and Leo need a cowboy hat. Alicia's
yeah.
coming with us.
2 New Yorkers with cowboy hats.
Hey,
John Travolta did it. Why not?
I'm going to Texas with my cowboy hat. I'm going to get boots and carry
Yeah.
a
Me
nice
too.
pistol.
There you go.
nice.
outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's well, Nevada's open carry too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Nevada's open carry.
Get
So you
myself a nice 44 Magnum, put it on my side,
there you go.
There you go.
walk down Texas
You
Road.
got to practice your howdy partner.
That's it. Howdy, partner.
Howdy partner. and then you're gonna get a lot of you ain't from around here, are you?
You got any water?
Well, Leo, thank you so much
Thanks,
for hanging
Leo.
out with
Thanks
us.
for having
Thank
me.
you for letting us just throw you in the chair. Literally, we did. He comes
Throw him
over
into the
here to
fire
go
pit.
have dinner with Alicia and I, and we just go, come in here, we're doing a podcast. And we threw him in the chair, and
thought
he
he was
rocked it. He did.
He thought he was getting a tour of the office. Well, he did get a tour of the office.
got a
but
tour.
I got
Right.
a tour, right? That's for sure.
It's like, okay, the last stop is the podcast
Cast room.
You don't see it, but I'm actually handcuffed to the chair. Right now.
Exactly. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for listening in. And don't forget, we are on SoundCloud, of course,
YouTube.
and YouTube and Facebook.
Facebook.
And I think Pat puts our
Twitter.
social media stuff on.
Just look up Staying Up with Pat and Jodi, and you're going to find us.
And
That's the easiest way to find us.
And
is
for
supposed to
Malibu,
be-
we do have Malibu. I do have a shirt for you. I'm going to come to New York right after Dallas. I'm coming out. I will bring
get your
you
shirt.
a shirt, Malibu. Okay,
can see the
Malibu
shirt.
is like my best friend, so we have to shout out to her.
Her name isn't actually Malibu.
No,
by the way.
we have to say hello to Mike Walter or goodbye, Mike Walter. He loves this show, by the way.
Does he?
Yeah, he
Oh my
listens all the
God,
time.
Mike Walter.
My best buddy, Mike Walter. How are you, man?
Yeah.
Hey, Mike
And
Walter.
we always try to mention him at least once.
And we did.
then we also have to say F you, Mike Walter, at least once. I don't know why. Just it's fun.
You say F you. You
F you,
can't
Mike
say.
We can say fuck you, Mike
We can
Walter.
say fuck you, but
it's
for some
funnier
reason
F
it's turned
you.
into F because he's
I love Mike Walter.
I
but
do
we all
too.
love
We
him
all
too.
love
Fuck you,
Mike.
Mike Walter. No,
exactly. It became a thing, and now we just can't stop
we
doing
can't
it.
stop.
It's like we're addicted.
You know,
like,
Mike Walter's been on this show twice.
He's on,
Has he?
Yeah.
I got to get on this show like two
more
more
time.
times.
Two more
We have
times
to
to
beat
beat him
him.
out. Yeah.
Big Daddy hasn't made it on yet, but Mike Walter
Really?
twice.
That's right. That's right. We drug him in here. Well, thanks again for listening and watching if you're watching us on YouTube. And hopefully we'll see you again real soon. We'll be back next week with another episode and maybe another crazy guest.
Alicia's got to come on.
That's right, Alicia, who's in the corner. You can't see her, but she's in the
Alicia.
corner, yeah.
We're going to bring Alicia on.
We're going to bring her on, scare the shit out of her.
She kind of looks like Rosita a little bit. She's got that Rosita look
Yes,
going
she
on.
does.
She does.
She
look like
does. She's like-
Rosita. Doesn't she? Have you seen
She looks
Rosita?
very
yet?
beautiful.
She does. Absolutely. All right. We'll see you guys next time.
See you next time.
Take care. Bye-bye.